Okay.
Let's, I'm calling the meeting to order, please. Let's have a moment of silence, please. Please stand. Thank you. Mr. Cortez, pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, sir. But not necessarily. Okay.
Okay,
Pat?
wait, before we go, hold on. No, I want to have a discussion
What?
on
We haven't got to consent yet.
okay, personnel matters, A.
Well, yeah, when we get there, we'll, just for the record, 3 are absent. Probably they're coming in late, I'm not
Yes,
sure.
they're running late.
Right?
Yes, sir. Text.
Number 5, Pat?
Recommend approving the agenda of the regular board meeting of March 2nd, 2010 with any corrections or deletions.
Mr. Springton. I don't know why I called you Braden.
Thank you, sir. Yes, we do have a few things that we need to correct in this agenda. Let's start off with general function, bids, proposals, and purchases. Item number 25, page 145 will be replaced with 145A. Under closed meeting, we do have some personnel matters that we have straightened up, and so I need to go ahead and mention those. Item number 26, page 147, will be replaced with 147A. 148 will be added to the agenda at backup. Page 151 will be replaced with 151A. Page 153A will be added to the agenda backup. Page 153B will be added to the agenda backup. Page 154A will be added to the agenda backup. Item number 36, page 231 will be deleted. Item number 37, page 232 will be deleted. Item number 38, page 233 will be deleted. Item number 40, page 235 will be deleted. Also under personnel matters, item number 44, page 239 and 240 will be deleted from the backup.
For the evaluation.
That's it. I just said it.
44? First one?
Already done it.
Okay. Is that it?
We don't have a quorum. I move to approve.
We move to approve the agenda. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Sayers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, of course, the ones here. Pat?
Item 6, recommend approving the minutes of the regular board meeting of January 19, 2010 with any corrections.
I move to approve.
We move to approve. Second. Being second by Mr. Sayers. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I'm abstaining due that I was not present at that meeting, the 19th? Was it the 19th, right?
Yes.
That's when you all, okay.
Yes, Mr. Aguilar, you weren't here.
Thank you, sir. Well, sometimes I forget where I'm here.
No, you weren't.
We have what we call a senior moments once in a while.
We understand.
The people don't laugh because we'll get there sometime.
Some of us are already there.
Oh, yes. Pat,
Item 7, recommend approving the consent agenda. The board has agreed to discuss the following items. All of the items below that are not called out will be approved by consent.
okay, now, I think we're going to have a short meeting. My colleagues have agreed to circle, to discuss items number 15, 24, and 25. Also, Mr. Saldana, Mrs. Peña would like to talk about number 29, personal matters, and 30.
Mr. Aguilar, if I may?
Hold on. We don't want to go back. She just want to make a statement.
No,
correct?
sir.
Abstain,
No, sir.
abstain.
No, sir.
Oh, then what is it?
I would like to circle all the personnel items. A.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it, but,
Yes.
All of it?
To discuss in the back.
so it's
Can you
826.
just call out the numbers, ma'am?
26.
Well, let's see, this is what,
Okay, well, no. Let me tell you which one. 29, 30, 31, 32, 34, 35, and discharge. 41, 42, 43.
okay. And perhaps in the future, Mrs. Peña, when I ask for this moment, numbers, please statement as such.
I'm sorry, I wasn't clear on that, sir. I
Yes,
apologize.
because previously, you just wanted to abstain from one of them. Did you get them?
Yes, sir, and we do have to talk
The
about
grievance.
with legal.
Mr. Aguilar?
Number 45, also. Anything else, Mr. Springton?
Numbers 8 and 9, Mr. Aguilar, the level 3.
Yeah, we'll go there.
Yeah, those need to be circled
Yes, yeah, those will be going have
to
the public
executive
audit.
session.
That is a given. Anyone else?
Move to approve?
We move to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Science to approve. Do I have, all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay.
8, Superintendent's Report. 8, Conference Presentations. 1, Recognition of Texas Music Education Association, TMEA Qualifiers.
Mr. Springton, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'll turn the mic over to Ms. Monfals, and she can introduce our directors.
Mr. Aguilar, and Mr. Springsteen, members of the board. Dr. Rebecca Rendon is here this evening with us to very proudly introduce us to our High School Texas Music Education Association qualifiers.
Good evening, Mr. Springsteen, Mr. Aguilar, and members of the board. I am very proud to stand before you here this evening to recognize the most talented band and choir students in the state. February the 10th through the 13th, 27 band and choir students from BISD participated in the Texas Music Educators Association convention. In order to be part of this prestigious event, the students had to audition along with thousands of other band and choir students throughout the state of Texas. Only the best of the best were selected, and 27, an increase of 5 from last year, are your students from BISD. Please note that these fine art students comprise the percentage who score the highest on SAT exams. The national SAT average is 1509, the Texas average is 1467, but the all-state band and choir average is 1857. We would like to thank Mr. Springsteen, Superintendent, board members, Mr. Cortez, Ms. Peña, Mr. Zayas, and school administrators, Ms. Alarcon, Ms. Hall, and Mr. Snyder for attending the performances in San Antonio and supporting our students. At this time, we would like to share a short PowerPoint presentation highlighting the all-state events. At this time, I will ask Dennis Pitcock, Supervisor of Choral Music, and Paul Flinchbaugh, Supervisor of Instrumental Music, to present the All-State members.
Good evening, Mr. Springston, Mr. Aguilar, members of the board and administrators. It is my distinct honor to present to you this evening the students who made the 2010 All-State Choir. Out of 14,000 students statewide that began the journey in September, only 500 students were selected to sing in an organization. In order for these students to win a spot, they had to endure 6 grueling auditions on 3 separate days for over a 5-month period of time. The Hannah High School choir program placed 5 students in an all-state choir. They are Karen Atkinson and Jennifer Moser, all-state women's choir members, Guillermo Delgado, a 2-year all-state singer and member of the all-state men's choir, and Courtney Guillen and Dino Chavez, both all-state mixed choir members and 2-year all-state choir members. These students are accompanied by choir director Jean Holcup and principal Teresa Alarcon.
Good evening, Mr. Springston, Mr. Aguilar, and BISD board members. I'm proud to announce that this year the BISD band programs have placed a total of 18 students in the all-state groups. With this result, Brownsville bands have earned more chairs than any other city in TMEA Area G. These results are also an increase over the number of chairs earned by our BISD band programs from last year. First students I'd like to introduce are from the Hannah Band program, which placed a total of 5 students in the all-state bands. And they are first senior band member, Mr. Vidal Gonzalez, senior band member Nathan Cervantes, senior band member Hugo Gonzalez, 2-year all-state band member Hannah Jr., Miss Elena Blanco, and freshman band member Miss Monica Mendoza. Assistant directors here from the Hannah Band are Dr. Mindy Pyle and the Hannah principal, Ms. Terry Alico. Next, we have our all-state students from the Lopez High School Band program. This year, the Lopez Band students earned a total of 8 chairs in the all-state band, which was a record for the Lopez High School. It's also the greatest total of any band program in all of TMEA Region 28 and all of TMEA Area G. The Lopez all-state band students are senior band member and 3-year all-state band member, Mr. Art Cisneros, senior band member and 3-year all-state band member, Mr. Gerson de la Garza. Junior band members, George Cefuentes, Vanessa Trevino, John Martinez, Laura Trevino, and Ray Latigo. And the next young man has attained a very rare level for his age. This young man is a junior at Lopez who this year ranked first chair in the entire state of Texas. I would like to introduce to you the best high school alto saxophone player in the entire state of Texas, the state champion, Mr. Jared Eves. And at this point, on behalf of the BISD and the Department of Fine Arts, we would like to present Jared with a small token recognizing him for his outstanding achievement, and that comes from Dr. Rendon. Congratulations, Jared. Assistant Director from the Lopez Band with us tonight is Mr. Steve Myers, and Lopez Principal is Miss Dawn Hall.
From Pace High School, we have Mr. Carlos Vasquez, who is a member of the Men's All-State Choir, accompanied by his director, Mr. Richard Phelps, and I believe Ms. Centeno was here as well.
The Pace High School Band program had 4 students earn a chair in the TMEA All-State Band this year. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Pace All-State Band members, who are a senior and 3-year All-State Band member, James Kershell Jr., a senior and 2-year All-State Band member, Sam Guetta, Also senior band member Jennifer Carpio, and sophomore band member and all-state cornetist Jose Carlos Izquierdo. And the band director for Pace High School is Mr. Rick Hernandez and Principal Sylvia Centeno.
From Rivera High School, I would like to present All-State Women's Choir member Jasmine Dela Cruz and 3-year All-State Mixed Choir members Carmen Montanaro and Zachary Barba, along with their director, Mr. Kyle Zoik, and Principal Tim Snyder.
And finally, the Rivera High School Band Program had a student earn a chair in the TMA All-State Band this year. He is senior band member George Mendoza. Assistant band director for the Rivera Band is Mr. Juan Cantu. George? And at this time, we would like to invite the board to stand with the BISD All-State students for a few photographs.
What an accomplishment, right? Yes. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations, man. Congratulations, man. Sir.
Way to go.
Good job, sir. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations.
Great job, man. Good luck to you. Congratulations. Very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job. What an honor. I wonder for things from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations, Rivera.
So that's the first thing I asked you. Give one of your. Congratulations, son. I honor your grandparents also.
Give me any dice.
Congratulations, sir.
Oh, way to go. Great job. I'm so proud. Congratulations. I don't like it. Thank you. I know you're.
Yes, yes.
I know.
How you doing? Fine, thank you.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for going through. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, man.
Even you.
Brad, how are you going to take a picture?
High school? Yeah, okay. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
High schools? I just listened.
Yes, Lucky Pharmacy.
Mr. Fishbach. Okay, well, if we can get everybody in. If we can get them all in.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
On the website.
The tall.
But put no towels over here. Let me get
I was standing on the side.
Here we go. Make sure you.
You guys stand on your toes, and we can't stand on our toes. Can you see us? I don't think so.
Hurry, Kim.
They're all standing on their toes.
Here comes Derek. Here comes Derek. Here comes Sylvia.
Come on, Sylvia.
Yeah, that's it. Wait.
That's good. Yay, congratulations.
He needs to step up because he has him here.
I know, but if you had a white angle you found it. Thank you. It's right there.
He's gonna do kids on their toes so they can see. You know what we need, sir? We need a step ladder. We need a step for him to stand up. We need to get him up. Because if you notice how everyone's still on their toes? So they could be seen. And then we were on our toes and then I was done. That's all my toes go.
Item 2,
Ms. Perez,
recognition of BISD schools just for the kids.
Mr. Springton.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, it gives me great honor to recognize our Just for Kids schools, and we do have a lot of kids, a lot of principals, a lot of staff members who have done an excellent job to be recognized not only across the state, but for the great city of Brownsville and BISD. Ms. Monfils?
Thank you, Mr. Springston, Mr. Aguilar, members of the board. Just for the Kids is a part of the National Center for Educational Achievement, has for over 10 years been watching test scores, looking at groups of students. They make their selections for schools across the nation based on the schools that score above the predictions for the different levels of students. So that's a really, really wonderful, wonderful honor to be elected to Just for the Kids nationally. And this group, of course, then is also that for the state of Texas is groups of students and schools that are achieving more and more in the commended range of scores. Dr. Montoya will introduce the Hannah Cluster schools.
Superintendent Springston, Rolando Aguilar, President of the Board, and fellow board members and other educators in the audience, we're very proud to begin the process with a Hannah Cluster and to share with you the high-performing schools, beginning with Egley Elementary and Principal Christina Bridgewater and her group. The second group this evening is Vela Middle School with the superintendent, Mr. Robert Gonzalez, and representatives of his staff as well as his parents and student.
Goes like this. You know what that means, right? Wires crossed.
And our final Hannah Cluster school, Paredes Elementary School, represented by Mrs. Cortez, assistant principal, and several representatives from the campus, and a parent and student.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Robert.
Congratulations.
Good job. Coming along. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Hey, hello, how are you? Congratulations. Way to go, beautiful. Thank you. Congratulations. I know her.
Do they have her?
Yes, yes.
Get in your picture.
Know her.
Yes.
Give me a shot.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Because y'all pursue.
And for the Lopez cluster, I proudly introduce Morningside Elementary, Principal Dolores Emerson. And Lucio Middle School, Principal Rose E. Longoria.
Hey, young man, how are you? Congratulations. 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 Congratulations.
Great job. There we go. Can you see me, guys?
Okay, 1,
2. One more?
To get them all out.
This one.
Just take one picture.
Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Springston, it is my honor to introduce the PACE cluster, starting with Benavides Elementary, teacher Darlene Gonzalez, student Nicolas and Lauren Oliveira, parent Shelby Oliveira, and principal Sherry Stout. Martin Elementary, teacher Vanessa Cavazos, Ivan Lopez student, parent Gabriela Lopez, and the principal Gilda Jo Peña. Ortiz Elementary, Dora Cisneros teacher, Andrea Paredes student, parent Esther Estrada, principal Sandra G. Lopez. Russell Elementary, Florence Aima teacher, student Ray and Alondra Cantu, Sandra Cantu parent, principal Bill Gutierrez. Ituria Elementary, Martha Villanueva teacher, student Bianca Hernandez, parent Maria Mora, principal Norma Jean Torres. Still Middle School, we have Martin Leal as the teacher, Jackie Trevino as the student, and parent Jaime Trevino, the principal Luis Segura. And from Stillman Middle School, Irene Avila, the teacher, David Orozco, the student, parent Aida Orozco, and the principal Marisela Zarate.
Yes. Of course. Congratulations, good job. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Thank you.
Bill? Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Hi, how are you? Congratulations. You did so well.
Giant picture right there.
All the way around to the side. Ana, gracias. Congratulations. Congratulations, sir. Hey, sir. How are you, Mr. Congratulations. ¿Cómo estás? Good. Good job. Congratulations. 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 Thank you. Great job. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. Congratulations. Yeah, I bet you are.
I don't see your cluster here.
Ahí vienen, ahí vienen.
Start lining up like that, okay?
She had two. What did they wait for? Yeah, I know. Go to the backpack.
Y'all come line up here. We'll go to the back.
Very painful.
All right. Yeah, y'all scratch in here. Go back up. Go back up in here. Back up in here.
Okay, let me see. We're the short people. Is it a tall one? All you see is my nose.
There we go. A little bit further back. All of y'all get in there.
So we can. Oh, look, everybody's the same height. That's good.
Wait, no, mira.
Yeah. No sé, oye, a little while ago, all the mad people, they were, the kids were all on their toes. I said, what are you doing? I guess. They were. I don't think you can see the people in the back. Am I right? You can't see the back row. No, you can't see. No.
Go up front.
Some are gonna have to kind of squat because I know we can't see her. We only see his forehead. We see nothing.
Y'all need to find the position. Can you see everybody?
Banner's crooked. Banner's crooked.
We're gonna have to hold the camera up here. I'm telling you, we need a bar so we need to stay.
Can the girl in the yellow can do that?
No. Back row, stand on your toes.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, stand tall.
1, 2, 3. Good job. Writing. Put you on the list.
No, thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you for coming in.
I'm sending y'all little motivational things.
Mr. Aguilar, can you stay up here for the next group?
It's a big group.
It's a big group.
It's a big group. Yeah, yeah. Luis. Okay, Mr. Springton.
He wants to know how come he doesn't have one.
Remember, one for all for one.
Say you don't have it in that size.
Ms. Ayala, please.
Mr. Aguilar, President of the Board, Mr. Springston, Superintendent of Schools, and board members. I'm here very proud for the Porter Nations. What about those Porter Cowboys on Saturday? They're wonderful. I hope you got to read the article, Matt High wins games, Porter has heart. And if you had been there, and Ms. Peña, thank you, it was a wonderful game. The Porter Nation has a lot of schools to be proud of, and I'm very, very honored to present them at this time. Castañeda, Principal Nora Camargo, and her staff. Cromac, Carmelita Rodriguez, and her staff. Longoria, Principal Marina Flores, and her staff. Putenet, Principal Carla Pereira, and her staff. Resaca, Principal Teresa Villafuerte, representing her tonight, Assistant Principal Isabel Ibarra, and her staff. Sharp, Principal Karen Trevino, representing her tonight is Diana Gomez, her Assistant Principal and staff. And board members, this is a Porter Nation.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. They're my cheerleaders. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Great job. Congratulations. Thank you.
Great job. Really, really great job.
Congratulations. Thank you. No, thank you for dropping me. Congratulations. Congratulations.
You probably, yeah.
It was me.
Oh, that was you.
Good. Congratulations.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Great job over there.
Good day, coordination.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations. Up over there?
Congratulations. Hello. No, que soy vieja, moza, pareces muñeca. Hey, how are you? Just go with this woman, you can't tell. She hasn't changed. Not announced.
Well, you went back over here, man?
Yes.
The little ones up front? Back up.
Back up, back up, back up.
The tall ones in the back.
The tall ones.
Remember? I remember.
The kids in front. All the way to the back, all the way to the back.
A ver, hágase para acá. Los chaparritos.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, ready?
After whatever it is, then I'll affiliate with BISD. I'll affiliate with BISD calendar. But they made all these plans.
You're getting good at this, sir. Cuando agarra con el stool se cae. Así.
Wait, you gotta laugh at yourself at times. You know that? You know, keep going. Take care.
Good job, guys. Good job.
This was right. Bye.
Mr. Aguilar, Mr. Springston, members of the board, I feel like singing the Three Dog Night song. It's called One is the Loneliest Number. The Rivera clusters, elementary schools, and middle schools, and high school are recognized or exemplary. We have not reached this list for Just for Kids in numbers, but I pledge to you, board members and the public and to my principals that next year we'll make this list. It's just that we've been diverting our attention to so many things that I guarantee you that next year, yes, we have one school on this list, and we're so proud of Gonzales Elementary.
Mrs. Peña.
Yes, sir.
We have a surprise for you, just because what you said, high expectation for next year.
Yes, sir. And we have a goal. This time, same place, next year.
All right.
You'll see all the elementary schools here and some of my middle schools as well. I'm very proud of all the schools. They're very high achieving. They're all recognized and exemplary, and I'm very proud of the elementary, our middle schools, and our high school. But we're especially proud tonight of Gonzales Elementary. The principal, Yolanda Kruger, one of the whippersnapper teachers that we have in our cluster, Miss Mary Moreno, teacher. Maria Mata is our parent, and Emmanuel Mata is our student. Gonzales Elementary.
Want to go downstairs?
Yeah, because it's very little.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations.
I didn't know what to say.
You're the whippersnapper. Congratulations. Great job.
Way to go, buddy. That was awesome.
Congratulations.
Next year, this time. You go back? We're showing our age. I love that.
Congratulations, Ben.
We're showing our age when we named the band. I knew who they were. They were one of the best. How do we put this?
Have your
Who are we missing?
have the whippersnapper.
The whippersnapper teacher. Yeah. Yeah, you can go now. Oh, yeah, we can put some.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Thank you.
First time next one.
Yeah, I think everybody can
Good observation. That was so cool.
I think this is the history.
That was that. Oh, that's funny. But funny, right?
Okay, who's next?
Item number 3, recognition of BISD Texas History Day winners.
Mrs. Springton, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, excuse me. Again, we have an opportunity, and we've always have opportunities to recognize our fine students, our staffs, and the hard work that they've been producing here in Brownsville ISD. And again, Ms. Monfils, would you like to take over?
Yes, sir. Mr. President, Mr. Springsteen, members of the board. The social studies component of the curriculum and instruction department has been very successful over many, many years with its winners. And these groups of students that Ms. Rosie Era will introduce to us this evening will also be competing at the state level. Ms. Era.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Board President, Mr. Springsteen, members of the Board of Trustees, administrators, and audience. The 2010 National History Day organization invited students to research topics related to the theme Innovation in History, Impact, and Change. 61 students participated in the Rio Grande Valley Regional History Fair at the University of Texas Pan American on February the 13th. 50 of these students will be representing BISD at the Texas State History Day event on May 7th and 8th in Austin, Texas. It is an honor and pleasure to present the regional event winners, beginning with middle school winners. First campus is Garcia Middle School. Principal, Amy Garza Ortiz. Sponsors, Patricia Gonzalez, Emma Montiel. Student, Cristina Benavides, Maria Gavino. Daniela Carrion, Krista Luna. Lucio Middle School, Principal Rose Longoria, Sponsor Gloria Torres, Student Eleni Gonzalez. Perkins Middle School, Principal Blanca Lambari, Sponsor Laura Castro, Student Andrea Ramirez, Daniel Hernandez, Maite Gonzalez. Stell Middle School, Principal Luis Segura, Sponsor Martin Leal, Student Carolina Hernandez, Jackie Trevino, Jesus Garza. Vela Middle School, Principal Robert Gonzalez, Sponsor Anita Velica, Student Maya Van Wagnen. These are our middle school History Day winners. They will be representing BISD at the Texas State History Day on May 7th and 8th.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
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 Congratulations. Look, you have a job. That's a plus. Job, thank God.
Great work.
Trying to get something.
Congratulations.
But thank you for everything you're doing. So what are you doing?
Better than before.
Great work.
Congratulations, Mama. Congratulations. One side. Congratulations.
Everybody wants to shake, right? Congratulations. 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 Robert, congratulations. Congratulations.
In the picture.
Back up a little bit.
Hello.
All the way to the
All the way to the back. Oh, okay.
there we go. Go ahead, you can come up here if you want to. See, they give me a window so I can get my picture.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Gloria.
See you in a few years.
Pick them up.
Arson might feel
I know that.
Arson might feel
Oh, yeah. So, what's yours?
And we'll continue with the History Day winners. For our high schools, Brownsville Early College High School, Principal Ronnie Renfro, Sponsor Diana Bryant, Student Eduardo Chavez. Hannah High School, Principal Terry Alarcon, Sponsor Rodrigo Garcia, Student Marco Amador, Diego Coronado, Sam Mayan, Sienna McFedrich, Aurora Villarreal. Pace High School, Pace High School Principal Sylvia Centeno, sponsor Peggy Gutierrez, student James Kershell, Nathaniel Alvarado, Lawson Rab, Jocelyn Torres, Sylvia Butanda, Kimberly Camaron, Mirna Casillas. Rivera High School Principal Tim Snyder, sponsor Karina Gracia, student Gonzalo Mendoza. These students will represent BISD for the high school division in the History Day event May 7th and 8th in Austin, Texas for the Texas State History Day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Good job. Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Get all the awards done.
Come, buddy.
Congratulations.
I expect big things from you.
Great job. Do a great job. Do a great job in Austin. Great job.
Thank you, Pat.
Congratulations. Great job. Great job, sir. Great job.
Congratulations again. Let it go.
Thank you very much. Thanks again. Thank you, sir.
Slide. Yeah, and sorry to slide. Slide it. I will.
Thank you for the wedding reception.
All the way to the back. Back up towards the back up. Tall ones in the middle.
In the front is always there.
One, two. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
That word again works better. Again, at least you're not doing this. Like exercise, remember? I know that's one more. No, again, get one more. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Great job.
Pat,
Thank you, guys.
Item 4.
yes, before we be sure you note it.
Oh my God. I'll never forget that.
Item 4, recognition of CTE Hannah High School teacher whom received the Texas Exes Award for Outstanding Teacher.
Thank you, Mr. President. It gives me an outstanding pleasure to go ahead and introduce Ms. Monfils to introduce our distinguished guest for this evening.
Mr. President, Mr. Springston, members of the board, the good news just continues. Mr. Felipe Reyes, our CTE administrator, is here to share it with us.
Mr. Aguilar, Mr. Springston, members of the board, community members. Today we're here and I'd like to present to you one of our outstanding teachers in career and technical education. Mr. Jackson T. Garden has been an icon and a legend here in this district and has now received state recognition. At this time, I'd like to also ask Ms. Terry Alarcon, principal for Hannah High School, who was instrumental in him receiving this award, to please come up.
Good evening, Mr. Aguilar, Mr. Springston, and members of the board. It is an honor and privilege for me to be here tonight with Mr. T. Garden, and we're going to tell you a little bit about his award that he received, the Texas Exes Award for Excellence in Education. And it truly was an honor for me to be able to nominate such an incredible teacher, truly an educator that has given 36 years of his life dedicated to education. This past February 12th, Mr. Teagarden was honored at the University of Texas campus and received this specially commissioned bronze sculpture along with the $2,500 cash award that was presented by the university president, Mr. Bill Powers. And Mr. Teagarden truly received this because he deserved it. And as Mrs. Moore and I agree, his former principal, Mr. Teagarden is a living legend who has touched so many students' lives. One of the things that we can say about Mr. Teagarden is that he goes above and beyond what is required, is willing to give of his time and of his money, because every time he receives an award, he says, okay, you know what, I'm going to buy this for the classroom. And the last time he won a computer, he said, this is going to go right back to the classroom. What a teacher. And there is nothing that Mr. Teagarden won't do to help our students succeed. Students don't always know what they're getting themselves into when they go into his classroom. But when they come out with not only academic success, but lifelong lessons. It is with his guidance, his passion, and his dedication that he has touched so many students' lives, and so many students have gone on to win state and national awards, have been state and national officers as well. Just go into his classroom and you'll see all of his wall of honor of all of the students that have gone on and to achieve so much. Truly, Mr. Teagarden is an exemplary teacher. And as I call him, he's an Energizer bunny because he keeps on going. He's there early in the morning. He's there late at night. He's there in the weekends, whatever it takes to get the job done. And his students love him for that. Just ask any student that has gone through his classroom, and they will just speak volumes about Mr. Teagarden. So it was truly easy to nominate Mr. Teagarden for this award. And Mr. Teagarden, thank you. Thank you for all you have done for our students at Hannah High School, and for the many students who have continued a career in drafting because of the seeds that you have planted in them. We are so happy that the Texas Exes saw in you what BISD already knows about you, that you are truly an incredibly dedicated, top-notch teacher. Thank you so much.
Albert would have been so proud of you. I know, I know that. I know that too. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Let's get you here in the center.
In the middle, sir. In the middle, sir. You're in the middle. Here, hold it high. Right. We're uneven, right? Yeah, we need some more weather, please. Better.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go win another award, so.
Item 5, recognition of BISD police investigator who was honored at the 2010 U.S. Department of Justice, United States Attorney's Office, Southern District of Texas Award Ceremony on February 10, 2010 at the Federal Reserve Bank in Houston, Texas.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'll turn this over to Dr. Montoya to recognize our officer.
Where's that? Here you go.
Okay.
Oh.
Superintendent Brett Springston, Board President Mr. Rolando Aguilar, and distinguished board members, I come before you this evening very privileged and honored to introduce one of our department's police investigators who was part of an investigative team involved in a high-profile federal investigation in collaboration with local, state, and federal agencies. Jose de Leon, BISD police investigator, was honored again in Houston last month for outstanding duty in his job. Here with us tonight are a few members of the investigative team. Megan Paulson, Assistant United States Attorney. Okay. I think we have Mr. Juan Avilos, if you'd come up, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE Special Agent, Computer Forensic Specialist. Patrick Gabbert, BISD Lead Police Investigator. And of course, our honoree, Mr. Jose de Leon, BISD Police Investigator. The investigative team worked for over 11 months on this high-profile case, and ultimately, BISD Police Investigator Jose Angel de Leon's courtroom testimony helped solidify the case against the defendant, which later resulted in the defendant pleading guilty of sexual exploitation of children. So it was a very difficult case, but very effective thanks to Investigator de Leon. So we appreciate his efforts, and we honor him tonight.
Congratulations, Mr. de Leon.
Thank you guys. Thank you, sir.
Got a hard time.
Thank you, sir.
So you guys need this, especially in our community. That's what we need more.
Thank you, sir. Y'all.
Let's put him in the middle and then 2 on each side. Since there's 5. Since they're tall, we gotta stand on our toes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yay!
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Pat.
Item 6, presentation of notification of contingency fund change order.
Mrs. Springton, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we have any questions at this time, I'll be glad to answer anything on the change orders.
Questions?
I have a question.
Mrs. Garcia.
Does anybody review these documents, Mr. Springston, before they come to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, one of them, there's an $84. They're off by $84. I don't know if that was caught or not. But apparently, they circled that they scratched off certain fees, and then at the end they added on those fees that were scratched off and initialed, which means that they look like credits, but then at the end they're balancing it off.
Mrs. Springton.
I will make sure I look into this, ma'am.
Okay.
And make necessary changes. On what page are you looking at?
That's the second one, right after that's Descon, is the one that made the changes. They scratched off $15, and I think $40-some. I lost the page.
Should be page 61.
Look into
Scratched
it.
off 15.
Yeah, they scratched off, and then they still added it on. So are they giving us a credit, or they're just pulling our leg there to see if we can catch on to things?
Mr. Aguilar? It also appears that they scratched off $54. Could we look at that? Because they only, the total is 970, but then they scratch off 54, 15, 15, and they circle that $886. But they didn't scratch out the 970 though.
No, but on the actual handout itself, on the backup that I have, the actual price was for $886 and not $970.
Okay, and Mr. Aguilar, the only reason I question it because the letter that's addressed, it doesn't make the correction in that particular letter.
But in the previous letter where it says Betterment Fund number 4, it has 886.
Right, I understand, but it just, I just want to make sure that
That's
this one doesn't fall
scratch
through the
out, they
cracks.
scratch out.
You got to scratch it off. You
Because
can't leave
when
it
you do
there.
auditing, it won't.
And when audits, they look at all those things, or that at least that should be looked at.
Okay, anyone else? Pat,
B, standing board agenda items. 7, board calendars.
Mr. Springton.
A lot of activities before spring break, and
Just one.
I know a lot of people are anxious to hear that, but we do have a lot of things that are happening over the next couple of weeks. And believe it or not, we are at that point where spring break is in just a couple of weeks. I know a lot of people are looking for that. I will like to say that, excuse me, that tomorrow we start our series in tax in writing. And we're looking at our elementary, middle, and high school writing on Thursday. We do have a bond oversight committee. On Friday, we do have several things. We have science and engineering fair at UTB. We also have the opportunity to go through some facilitating training through the CRSS that we have been working on for the past several months with as a board. And as for myself, and we have posted that, so that workshop will take place, and we'll look at some vision statements and some things that we were asked to do at our last meeting. On Saturday, we do have our Special Olympics local meet, which is at Sam Stadium, and I believe that starts at 7:45 a.m. in the morning, and the actual kickoff starts at 8 a.m., and we'd like to see as many people there as we possibly can. On Monday, the 8th, it starts Texas Public Schools Week. That's March 8th through the 12th. That's also the National School Breakfast Week. We also have our high school open house starts that day. On the 9th, we have our elementary school open house. On the 11th, we have our middle school open house. And then, of course, the next week, we will start our spring break, which starts from the 15th through the 19th. We do have a board meeting scheduled for the 19th, but also in our agenda, we have that to be rescheduled for the 23rd.
It's already been approved.
And it's been approved.
Mr. Aguilar? That was the 16th, right, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Springston? And could you please repeat the training for Friday? Because not everybody got the information.
The training for Friday is an actual, it's really a workshop where we're conducting us as an organization, as a group, board member and superintendent, and also some staff members, AAs, where we're working on our commitments.
What time?
And that starts at 12:30. We'll have lunch at 12 o'clock. That'll begin at 12:30. We have already run off some preliminary drafts from what was given to us so that I can present to y'all beforehand. And I will do that by email. And then that way when we get together, you can look at some of the drafts, because a lot of the things that we did in both groups, Group A, Group E, Group B, were really some of the same. But we need to reword those types of statements and put them all together so that we can all be on the same page. And that's what we'll do starting at 12:30 on that day.
Okay. Anyone else?
Just for the record, I won't be available for the training.
Yes, ma'am.
So you might want to notify them.
Anyone else? Pat?
The next item on our agenda is a public comment period. This is the time for citizens, staff, or students to provide their comments to the board. Statements and questions from the audience will not be permitted during other portions of the meeting. So please let us hear from you now if you have comments to present. To have your comments heard tonight, your name and the subject matter of your comments must appear on the sign-in sheet, which is located in the rear of the meeting room. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes to complete his or her comments. With all due courtesy, the presiding officer will strictly enforce that time limit. If a group of people want to be heard on the same topic, the board asks that they designate a spokesperson to avoid needless repetition. The board has adopted rules to preclude the abuse of open forum by, for example, anyone uselessly repeating the same comment or complaint meeting after meeting. All participants must understand that if your comment in the judgment of the presiding officer constitutes a complaint against an employee or officer, the presiding officer will interrupt and ask you to stop and direct you to proceed with the BISD's formal grievance procedures, be that DGBA, FNG, or GF Local. With those cautions in mind, we will now be glad to hear from the general comments.
Mr. John Clark.
Good evening, Mr. Springston, members of the board. It's nice to see you tonight. I'm John Clark, President, Brownsville Classroom Teachers Association. In the spirit of the short meeting, I'll try and be brief tonight so that on this election day I can go vote again. Tomorrow is a tax day, a big day here in the district with our ELA tax, and I can tell you that the students have been really gearing up for it, focusing, and bringing themselves to be ready for this day tomorrow. And the teachers have been concentrating their instruction to bring us to the point of readiness for tomorrow. And it's looking good all the way around. So I wanted to share that with you. On this election day, I also want to say that I appreciate the democratic process and the leaders that we have here who are doing their bit to bring the community into the direction and the execution of our school district. And you guys have a dual responsibility. One is to be responsive to the community, which in my experience and from what I've seen from you guys, you are doing well. And the other part of that dual responsibility is, of course, leadership. And I want to commend you on that. We've got some challenges coming up, and I think that leadership is going to be something that's up for all of us. I have been talking to some members of the board, and I'm very happy that you are very serious about the financial health of this district and the financial direction we're taking. I know you're very serious about it, and I'm very appreciative of that. So, keeping it short, I want to say thank you again, and see you later.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank you.
Mr. George Borrego.
My name is George Borrego. I'm the president of the Association of Brownsville Educators, the largest local in the state of Texas, associated with NEA and TSDA. Mr. Aguilar, Mr. Springston, and board members. First, I'd like to comment on John's remarks. They're very good. Where are you, John? I wish I had your hair. I'm in the process of finding out how much it's going to cost to scalp it so that I can wear it. As we embark on budgetary issues, which is other than, of course, the fact that we're testing and testing and testing, as we embark on the budgetary issues, we understand that it's going to be an interesting year, and that next year it's going to be even more interesting. And by interesting means there's no money. Unless we can fix some of the problems in Austin and Washington, we're all going to tighten our belts. So we will not be unreasonable in what we request. We do not want $5,000 salary increase for next year. You can quote me on that. We do not. But we are looking at some other issues that we can handle with a few bucks. We still need to visit our stipends and try to bring them up to date. Coaches haven't had an increase in God knows how long. Some of those stipends I don't know how they were designed or who came up with the figure. They don't justify the people that are working for them. Also, equity issues in reference to assistant principals and their salaries and their duties. That's a very important issue. We need to honor our people that work for the district with just compensation. And we can do it. We just need to get together at the table, talk about it, and come up with a resolution. And this board and this administration seems to be very willing and very open to discussion, to mediation, to resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pat?
Closed meeting is pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551074 and 551082. A, Level 3 Board Review and Grievance. 8, Level 3 Grievance, number 005-0910, Jessica Wittenberg.
We have it. Pat, you don't have internet access?
What happened? Boom.
We're back to our regular meeting. Ms. Perez?
Item 9, Board Action on Level 3 Grievance, number 005-0910, Jessica Wittenberg.
Do we have a motion? Mr. Kaluga?
I move to uphold level 2.
It's been moved that we approve,
Uphold level 2 decision.
to hold level 2 decision. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been seconded by Mr. Sines. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
3, motion fails.
And motion fails.
You can consider any other motion out there.
Any consideration? Ms. Peña?
I move that we grant the 2.5 days.
I second it.
Been moved that we grant 2.5 days. Been seconded by President Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
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 Motion fails.
Okay. Pat?
Item 15, discussion, consideration, and possible action for the approval of chess teams traveling to national chess competitions in all grade levels. Board member request.
Ms. Peña?
Yes. I'm down. Oh, no, no. Thank you. Mr. Aguilar, Mr. Springston, the reason I put this on the agenda, as you know, our chess teams have been doing wonderful. I know we have Ms. Caballero and Mr. Hammonds here. Mr. May I?
Yes, you may.
Mm-hmm.
If you could approach the podium, I would appreciate Mr. Hammonds, Ms. Caballero. Mrs. Caballero. And first of all, I want to thank you for the hard work that you do. I want to thank you publicly because UIL and chess is a handful. I don't know how you do it, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart because kids succeed because you two exist. So I really want to thank you for that. And I want everyone to know the hard job that you have. And with that said, we have some of our teams that are traveling to national in high school, junior high, and elementary. We also had some teams that went to state and they placed high in state. I'm sure you know the results of the standings. And the reason I put this on here, because we have some teams that placed second at state at their level, but they didn't do that well at regional, which means in chess, it's anybody's game at any given moment. And I wanted to put this on here and for my colleagues that if we have some teams that are expressing concern and desire and wish to travel out of state for the national tournament that were not on a previous list, or I don't think they've been put on yet. And my concern is that I'd like for us to approve for Mr. Springston to be the one that can authorize them going out of state because of the press for time to have a meeting. If they come up with the funds and they would like to attend, I'd like for us to authorize, if possible, Mr. Saldaña, give him the authority, if possible, that if they get the team together, they get the funds together, go to the superintendent to get the approval and not have to wait for a board meeting. Okay. Is that a possibility?
Mr. Springton?
Mr. Salanya?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
Yeah,
You can designate the superintendent.
Designate me to the.
I would like to, for us, do I need a motion to do that, Mr.?
Yes, ma'am.
But first, I'd like to hear from Mrs. Springton say,
sure.
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yes, possibility.
Now, I caution you guys, just for 1 second here, that I have that we make the motion contingent to consistency with local policy. Now, local policy can be suspended, so in essence, what you're doing here is suspending that local policy. So to the extent that there's any policy, local policy requiring board approval of student travel out of state, that it be suspended and that authority be provided to Mr. Springston.
Let me ask a couple questions. Under what circumstances does this come up?
One of the schools that is qualified is trying to raise the funds to pay for the hotel, pay for the flights, and sign up the kids. And we don't have a next board meeting till the 19th of March, or what day did we move it to?
23rd.
The 23rd.
It is going to give authority for one instance.
For the chess national tournament. That's what the only one
Just this one instance.
Yes, just this, but the national is high school, junior high, elementary. They're going to different states on different dates. I just want to make sure that they're not pressed for time, because you can't book the flight if you don't have the permission and the authority from the district to be able to attend this function.
Okay.
And I don't want to delay it because, the flight, if you pay it, if you don't fly, you lose your money. They're not refundable. Right. And in today's economy, I don't want to put that burden on the students and the parents.
And so the school and the parents will be able to take care of the funding.
Yes, and that's when they take care of their funding, however they get their funding, they can come, and the superintendent would be the one authorized, not wait for us to have a meeting. And you have to pay it within 5 days, a flight, or 10, or you lose it. It goes up $200.
Think about that.
I'd like to...
Excuse me. So she's basically talking about the national one-time on, which is...
Well, if you can do it on a one-time basis. Yes. For this situation right now.
Okay. Yes, that's what I'd like to do.
And I don't see that there would be any problem on that. That way it's limited to that one-time occurrence.
Just to this.
Sir, is that all right with you?
Mr. Hammonds, Ms. Caballero?
Ms. Caballero?
Of course, we'll do whatever we're directed to do, but I don't think you need to make a motion if we're talking about the same school, because I think they were included on the original list for approval, because they did finish in the top 10 at regionals.
Yes, Mr.
Which does qualify
Aguilar.
them to go to nationals.
Yes, but I've had, Mr. Aguilar, Mr. Springston, and Mr. Hammonds, Ms. Caballero, I've had some other schools approach for the same thing, but they're not sure they're going to go. So I want to do this in case one comes up and says, we've got the funds. Because some of them haven't even thought about it because they weren't able to raise the funds. Some have approached it. They're doing fundraisers to see if they can do it. With that in mind, I thought to myself, well, if you don't put it on the agenda and you raise the funds, by the time we approve you, your flights will be higher. This is why I want to do this for this one-time event.
Mr. Springton?
Okay, I have no problem with that.
Mike,
sir.
there's no problem?
Oh, no, not if, especially if it's a one-time thing. That makes it even better.
Yes, one time.
I prefer that.
Okay.
No, and that's exactly what I wanted for. Just this.
Go ahead and...
I'd like to move that we authorize Mr. Springston to authorize any out-of-state trips for the national chess tournaments one time. This 2010 national chess tournaments this year.
Where is it?
It's Columbus, Ohio. It's in Minnesota and Atlanta, Georgia. And I apologize, I don't know what city in Minnesota?
Minneapolis.
I'm sorry.
And if I may, can you add to it that the funding will be provided by...
Oh, the funding has already been set aside, and a lot of it is personal funding, booster funding, community funding.
And to suspend...
Do I have a second?
And I'd like to suspend the policy...
Just for this instance.
Just for this one event, the national tournament of 2010.
I'll second it.
Being second, Mr. Sayed, those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, Pat?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Recommend awarding
Thank you.
bid number 10-095, security equipment installation and repairs for alarm and CCTV district-wide to several vendors, annual bid.
Mr. Zayas?
Ms. Pena?
I'll get her for you. Ms. Pena, can you step up, please? Thank you.
We had a long discussion about this, and I didn't see it in my backup like you had promised me. That's why I wanted to ask you about that.
Excuse me, sir?
When we had a discussion in Mr. Ruiz's office the other day, you said that you were going to give me the quantities because the methodology that you used doesn't give me anything.
Ms. Bettis is handing those reports already, sir.
Thank you very much.
I don't know what is this?
Okay. Mr. Aguilar, board members, Mr. Springston, in our discussion that we had, Mr. Saez, you requested that you would like to see the actual usage with the current numbers that have been produced by the bid. The first example is the actual usage.
I said what? Did you say?
The actual usage, in other words, quantities. What did we use?
What quantities did you want to use?
Last year, this is what we gathered in our discussion. Last year quantities with current year bid pricing.
Okay, and
this is example number 1.
okay.
Okay? In the discussion, we talked about if we actually use quantities and amounts and hours and that have been used prior, you would be able to compare if first is first, second is second, and third is third. The discussion went further to alert you that this is a service bid, that 9 times out of 10, the same hours that were used last year, the same equipment that was replaced last year, the same percentage discount used last year on other items not provided would never happen again. Because every year you don't have the same cameras breaking down, you don't have the same equipment being replaced. So in example number 1, we took the usage from a prior year and multiplied it out using the current bid, what you have before you for tonight's award. And those are actual. The second handout, on example number 2, is if we were to have a variable usage. In other words, if we were to use every item in the bid as we spec'd it out, what would cause that? What kind of skew would we have? And the items that we picked were just random, 5 items, 5 hours, 5 replacements, so that you can see the comparison. The variables in this type of bid are so great that administration can only make a recommendation based on known values. And the known values are the line items received on that bid by unit cost.
I moved to table this matter until we can study these papers. I don't like getting information at the very end, not having time to look at it. So, I want to table.
Second.
Been a motion to table this item, been seconded by Mrs. Peña. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Pat?
Item 25, recommend awarding RFP 10-100, General Liability, Automobile, Law Enforcement, and Crime to Montalvo Insurance Agency of Westaco, Texas, and Fuel Tank Storage Liability to Cavazos Insurance Agency of Brownsville, Texas.
Mr. Saez?
Yes. Mr. Whittemore, I think I got some questions for you, sir.
Go ahead, Ken.
Mr. Springton?
Or Mr. Springsteen?
No, go ahead, Ken.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Whittemore, there's 5 different policies, the way we got them on the spreadsheet. Are they each a separate policy?
President Aguilar, Superintendent Springston, members of the board, Mr. Zayas, yes, they are individual policies, yes, sir.
Are they bought individually, separately?
Yes, sir.
Okay, like for instance, on the very first line it says general liability limited $2 million. Cavazos gave a premium of $59,000 with no deductible, and then Travelers was given a $65,537 premium with a $5,000 deductible, and you chose Montalvo. How did that happen?
Yes, sir. Based on our procurement code, sir, Chapter 44, we did solicit proposals, and we are recommending the best value, not necessarily the low price. What we did was we went and we looked at the coverages. For example, with general liability, Travelers includes a coverage for, say, pollution, based on chemical pollution, chemicals used at transportation, maybe at the pools, food service, et cetera. They also included a separate category of employees that were not included in the other. For example, nurses, dietitians, counselors, even student athletes. Also, there was terrorism coverage, which was not included in the other. The aggregate limit on the liability was $3 million as compared to $2 million. There's one component that we've looked at over the past couple of years that's included by Travelers. It's a safety inspection and risk management review, where they come in periodically. They meet with various departments, for example, transportation, maintenance, police, personnel. They look at our policies and procedures to see what we have exposure out there in order to minimize the risk, hopefully have fewer claims and reduce our premiums, sir.
Okay. I guess there's really not much of a difference, like a $500 difference in the law enforcement one also.
Yes, sir. Again, there are differences in coverages. Again, the safety inspection review. More importantly on this one, sir, was the so-called moonlighting that sometimes is done by law enforcement officers, be it Brownsville PD, BISD PD. The primary difference was moonlighting overall for Travelers is covered. With the other carrier, moonlighting, we need to know what activities, what individuals specifically when the application's completed prior to the proposal being completed, which it's kind of hard to determine, sir. Also, volunteers in terms of the law are also covered in the law policy.
Okay.
Mr. Cortez? Mr. Whittemore,
yes, sir.
I understand Mr. Zayas' concerns, as we look at the summary analysis, one bid is $6,000 more than the other, so obviously we're going to question,
of course,
why are you selecting the higher bid that has a $5,000 deductible versus one that doesn't have a deductible and it's $6,000 cheaper? I mean, to avoid these things, and I'm a big proponent of receiving information ahead of time.
Yes, sir.
If you guys can just make some type of special notation in the bottom,
right,
highlighting the differences between each policy,
yes,
we may not have to waste our time either having you come up here and answer some of these
yes,
questions.
Sir. I agree 100%. I learned a lot off this bid. A wise man told me it's kind of like shopping for a car. You have to go line item by line item, and I pretty much needed Mr. Zayas or Mr. Saldana's law degree to read these policies, though it's pretty detailed. But I do appreciate your comments.
Even when I saw it, I thought, well, why are we spending more?
Absolutely.
But now that you've pointed out the reasons and the additional coverages, it makes sense.
And that will be done,
but
yes, sir.
We don't see that here when we get our backup and we review this, over the weekend and stuff. So
you are correct. I agree 100%. Yes, sir.
And not only for you, but for Mr. Springston and the rest of the administration.
Yes, and we
Please
did. We
provide
we sat down today, sir, and we kind of went through the line item, and because I didn't understand it when I first looked at it, and we had some good discussions about the limits and the amount of coverage that this is actually going to do for the district, that it would actually be a benefit.
And it provided a better background also for the student athletic come in the E&O and all policies that we do. So I do appreciate the comments.
But the thing is that what Mr. Cortez is talking about is that this information should have been given to the board ahead of time.
Yes.
Yeah, like the reasons that you had.
Absolutely.
That we understand where
and
you're
I
coming
believe,
from.
excuse me, sir.
Just get it right
And I
now.
believe that we talked about this when we were discussing this item, and I said, have it ready for the board members. And having it ready just to articulate it out there in the podium is fine and dandy. However, sometimes it's best that we have it in black and white, like some of the requests have been done in previously. Let us know in black and white so we won't have to spend all this time discussing the item when it's written and everybody understands what's going on.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
yes,
it,
sir.
sir, if you
No,
can do
thank
that
you
in the
very
future.
Mr. President.
Ms. Garcia?
You know, I concur with you, but if that's the case, then when we also ask for information, we would also like the backup.
Sure.
I've requested for information like a day prior before I come to the meetings, and there's been 2 incidents, 2 agendas that I have not received backups for. So if you could please reiterate that we all get information when we request it, especially when we're preparing for an agenda item, please. I'm making that very clear on a board meeting.
Yes, as long as it's being requested in timely basis. Yes, I think you should be getting your information, but let's also we need to understand that the administration also has other things that need to get involved, and so what we just wanted within 24 hours, and it's not possible, I think it's not fair, really. It's not appropriate to be asking those reports at a certain particular time. In his case, he had until Friday, and he was preparing this item for us, and I'm pretty sure he had been working for a couple of weeks on this.
I move to approve item 25.
Big motion to approve. Do I have
Mr.
a
Aguilar.
second?
Mr. Aguilar.
Oh,
I
don't have a second.
Sorry.
I don't have a second yet. Okay.
Sorry
Mr.
about
Colunga.
Sorry, Joe.
On the coverage that you specified for the general liability being better in the recommended bid, were the desired characteristics in the specs as far as what the district wanted as coverage? Were those in the specs as sent out to the different vendors? Or?
On the detailed coverage, sir, not in terms of the specific details perhaps, but in terms of the broad encompassing, it's just some coverages were more broad for one carrier than the other and more limited by one carrier and the other.
Okay, and on the TPS pool, can you provide a history of the TPS pool in relation to BISD, or have they done business with the district in the past?
Mr. Kalunga, to the best of my knowledge, since I've been as administrator here for employee benefits, I've worked with travelers and not TPS. I will find out and I will do history and get that to Mr. Springston tomorrow. I don't have anything concrete, sir, but I will get you something as to if so and when.
Thank you. And also on the, can you include information on their financial statements or their financial standing?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mrs. Peña?
Mr. President and Mr. Springston, I know that by now you pretty much know this board. You can read us really well. And just a word of advice, when you see that something's coming up and you sit there and decipher it the way we would, could we maybe just pull it because it's not going to cut the mustard and we don't have to spend time on trying to find things out, or like the one we tabled earlier? That would really help us in when we're pressed for time, or not go in circles and then table it, because you know as well, and you know the questions that would be posed. And again, we ask to bring in details, and we ask every meeting, every time, and we're going to keep asking. So could we look at that? And if you're not satisfied with it, or you think there would be something that we are going to stop and table, could you maybe pull it for the sake of trying to get more details? Because on Friday, We can't call you Saturday and tell you, well, before I make my decision, I need it on Monday, because that's not fair to you.
Well, no, it was that way because of the short week and for last week, and I kept it on the agenda because I knew that I was going to get something today as far as this comparison. And once I got it, then I said, well, just go ahead and get it to you as soon as I couldn't get it to you over the weekend. I couldn't get it to you in that time period like I wanted to.
But like, it's even Friday to Tuesday, it's not enough time. Right. But thank you.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the item. Do I have a second?
Second.
Be second by Mr. Sires. Mr. Cortez made the motion. And second by Mr. Sires. Those all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. All right.
Thank you.
Aye.
Close meeting.
Closed meeting is pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551071, 551072, 551074, 551082, and 551084.
That was loud.
Scared me. What? You scared? We're back now in session, Mrs. Perez.
Item 29, recommend approval of probationary contractual personnel for the 2009-2010 school year and the 2010-2011 school year. Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, subject to receipt of all outstanding documentation.
Move to approve.
Be motion to approve by Mr. Cortez.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Sires. Those all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Mr. Cortez, Aguilar,
Mrs. Peña?
please note for the record, I abstain.
Okay.
And Ms. Perez, I vote against it because I firmly believe we have enough applicants within the district that do qualify for that position.
Number 30, Ms. Perez.
Recommend approval of term non-chapter 21 contractual personnel for the 2009-2010 school year and the 2010-2011 school year. Chief Financial Officer, subject to receipt of all outstanding documentation.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
To be moved to approve number 30. Have a second?
Second.
Be second by Mr. Colunga. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay, Ms. Perez.
I want to note for the record that I abstain from that.
I want to note for the record that I also abstain.
So what's it?
Carries.
Motion carries.
3, 1, 2.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Motion passes, okay.
Item
31.
31, recommend approval of term chapter 21 contractual personnel for the 2009-2010 school year and the 2010-2011 school year. Supervisor for visual arts, subject to receipt of all outstanding documentation.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Mrs. Peña. Do I have a second by Mr. Sires? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? 32.
Recommend approval of campus professional staff for 1-year term contracts for the 2010-2011 school year.
Have a motion?
Move to approve.
To be moved to approve motion item number 32. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Sires. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed?
Mr. Aguilar, I move to approve, but just to let the record reflect that as to term contract employee Linda Aguilar, Sandra Cortez, and Teresita de Jesus Zuniga, I abstain.
Okay, right. Okay, anyone else? So did you get those 3 names?
Yes.
Okay.
34, recommend approval to pay professional employee YR salary that was earned and not paid for fiscal years 2006-2007 through 2008-2009.
Move to approve.
It's been moved to approve.
I'll second.
Been second, Mr. Sires. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? 35.
Recommend approval to compensate a professional employee NJT for change of assignment.
Move to approve.
It'll be moved to approve by Ms. Peña. Second. Anyone? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been second by Mr. Cortez. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed?
I want the record to reflect that I'm abstaining from that one.
You're abstaining. Okay. Number 39, there's no action on it, Mike? Is that correct?
Unless someone wants to make some type of a motion on
Okay.
it, you may want to just call it out.
All right, 39, Pat.
Recommend to approve the proposed discharge of a continuing contract employee, MR, for good cause.
If we want to send it back to the superintendent for further consideration, is that a motion?
No.
No?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay.
No. Do I have
You
a,
can make that for the record, though, indicate.
okay.
fit to.
Do I have
Well, it's not a motion. It's just a
Recommendation.
recommendation to the
Okay.
superintendent.
But he still has to.
Oh, we
ask for a
still need to
motion.
get rid of 39,
You still have to ask if there's a motion.
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion for 39? Do I have a motion? Ms. Perez, there's been a recommendation to be sent back to the superintendent. 41?
Recommend approval of a third-year probationary contract employee, DH, for a fourth-year probationary contract for the 2010-2011 school year based on a determination that is doubtful whether the employee should be given a term contract, TEC 21.102C, DCA legal.
Move to approve.
All three of them?
One to,
Yes, I'd like to
Peña?
move to approve 41, 42, 43. Can Pat read 42 and 43?
okay,
We can do them all together. Is that okay?
that would be fine. Do I have a-
42.
It's been moved to approve 41, 42, 43. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Sy, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. And that's it. Item number 45 was just discussion.
Move to adjourn.
Excuse me, sir?
We still have one announcement, sorry.
Announcements, please. Mr. Sprinton, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a reminder, the next regular scheduled board meeting will be after spring break on the Tuesday, March the 23rd, 2010, 5:30 p.m. here in this building.
Okay. Now do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Mr. Sayas, motion to adjourn. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, let's go.
Good night, Brownsville.
Good night.
10:17.